It's a frigid January morning in 2014, and the gymnasium of Brookhaven High School sits cloaked in an unnatural stillness. The air smells faintly of polished wood and sweat. The only sound the soft creak of a basketball net swaying under dim fluorescent lights. At 6:45 a.m., the school janitor shuffles in, expecting another quiet shift. Instead, he freezes. There, in the shadowed corner of the gym, lies a body. 18-year-old Heather Malone, the star cheerleader of Brookhaven High. Her once vibrant frame is crumpled, her cheer uniform stained crimson with blood. Multiple stab wounds mark her chest, her wide-open eyes locked in a silent scream of terror. Heather's death rips through the sleepy Georgia suburb like a thunderclap. By noon, the news spreads. The Golden Girl, adored by classmates and envied by many, is gone. Police tape seals off the gym, turning a place of teenage triumphs into a crime scene. Her parents weep inconsolably outside, while students gather in hushed clusters, phones buzzing with rumors. The community reels. How could this happen here to her? But beneath the shock lies a whisper of something darker. A forbidden secret begins to surface. Heather had been entangled in an illicit affair with her coach, Nathan Ellis, a married man, a mentor, a figure of trust. The revelation stings, promising to unravel lives beyond just Heather's. Was this a random act or a calculated murder? Did Nathan play a role in silencing her? What drove this tragedy? A lover's betrayal, a jealous rage, or something even more sinister? The answers wait in the shadows, ready to pull us deeper into this haunting tale. In the heart of Brookhaven, Georgia, 2013 paints a picture of suburban serenity. Tidy lawns, white picket fences, and the hum of Friday night football games define this close-knit community. Brookhaven High School stands as its crown jewel, a place where dreams of college scholarships and small-town glory collide. But beneath the surface of this idyllic town, unspoken pressures simmer, expectations of perfection, the weight of social status, and the quiet ache of unfulfilled lives. Heather Malone, 18, is the star of Brookhaven High's cheerleading squad. With her radiant smile and effortless grace, she's the girl everyone knows, or thinks they know. Teachers praise her charisma, classmates envy her popularity. Yet, behind her flawless facade, Heather carries a heavy burden. Raised in a fractured home, with an absent father and a mother lost to alcoholism, she's learned to mask her pain with charm. Her beauty is her armor, her popularity a shield against the chaos of her personal life. Deep down, Heather yearns for stability, for someone to see beyond the cheerleader persona to the vulnerable girl beneath. Nathan Ellis, 28, is Brookhaven High's new basketball coach, a man whose easy confidence and boyish charm make him a local favorite. Freshly married to Hannah, his college sweetheart, Nathan seems to have it all: a loving wife, a cozy 3-bedroom home, and a job he adores. Hannah, a kindergarten teacher with a gentle warmth, dreams of starting a family, filling their home with laughter and love. But Nathan's long hours at the gym, poring over playbooks, leave him stretched thin. The pressure to prove himself as a coach gnaws at him, and a quiet restlessness grows, unnoticed by those who see only his perfect life. The cultural fabric of Brookhaven, steeped in Southern tradition, places a premium on family and propriety. Affairs, especially between a teacher and student, are unthinkable, a violation of trust and community values. Yet in this pressure cooker of expectations, emotional voids can spark dangerous connections. As autumn leaves fall in 2013, Heather and Nathan's paths cross daily in the gym, their roles as coach and cheerleader hiding the undercurrents of their personal struggles. Two lives, one craving validation, the other seeking escape, destined to collide. What happens when a spark ignites between them? Could a fleeting moment of connection unravel everything they've built? The stage is set for a tragedy that will shake Brookhaven to its core. September 2013 at Brookhaven High School hums with the energy of a new semester. The gym echoes with the squeak of sneakers and the rhythmic chants of cheerleaders. Heather Malone, in her crisp cheer uniform, commands the sidelines, her ponytail swinging as she rallies the crowd. Across the court, Nathan Ellis, clipboard in hand, coaches his basketball team with a quiet intensity. To the casual observer, they're just a cheerleader and her coach, bound by the routine of school spirit. But beneath the surface, a dangerous spark is about to ignite. It begins innocently enough. Heather lingers after practice one evening, her backpack slung over one shoulder, asking Nathan for advice on managing stress. Her green eyes, wide with feigned innocence, lock onto his. Nathan, exhausted from a long day, is flattered by her attention. At 28, he's not immune to the admiration of an 18-year-old star like Heather. He offers a few kind words, unaware of the void he's stepping into. Heather, starved for stability, sees in Nathan more than a coach, a savior, someone who listens when no one else does. Their conversations grow frequent, shifting from school to personal struggles. In the dim glow of the gym's exit lights, Heather shares fragments of her life, her mother's neglect, her father's absence. Nathan, moved by her vulnerability, feels a protective instinct. He tells himself he's mentoring her, filling a gap left by her broken family. But the late-night talks, once brief, stretch longer. Heather's laughter becomes softer, her glances linger. Nathan notices her perfume, the way her hand brushes his when passing a water bottle. The air between them crackles with unspoken tension. In Brookhaven's conservative community, where tradition and propriety reign, a teacher-student relationship is a scandal waiting to explode. The cultural expectation of clear boundaries, especially in a school where trust is paramount, looms large. Yet Heather's charm and Nathan's growing discontent with his demanding life blur those lines. His marriage to Hannah, though loving, feels strained by his long hours and her unspoken disappointment over delayed family plans. Heather's adoration becomes a balm for Nathan's bruised ego, a dangerous escape from his responsibilities. By November 2013, the relationship crosses a forbidden threshold. One rainy evening, alone in Nathan's office after a game, Heather steps closer, her voice trembling with confession. "You're the only one who gets me," she whispers. Nathan, torn between guilt and desire, hesitates, then succumbs. Their first kiss, hidden behind a locked door, is a spark that sets their worlds ablaze. For Heather, it's validation. For Nathan, a reckless surrender. They convince themselves it's a secret no one will uncover. But secrets in Brookhaven have a way of surfacing. Warning signs flash. Heather's possessive texts. Nathan's distracted demeanor at home. The gym, once a place of triumph, now harbors a dangerous liaison. How long can they hide their affair before it consumes them? What risks are they willing to take, and who will pay the ultimate price? A storm is brewing, and its first drops are about to fall. By December 2013, the air in Brookhaven High's gymnasium feels heavier, charged with secrets that cling to the shadows. Heather Malone and Nathan Ellis are entangled in a dangerous dance, their forbidden affair spiraling into recklessness. Late-night meetings in Nathan's office, stolen moments under the bleachers, and cryptic texts light up their phones in the dark. Each encounter is a gamble, yet neither can pull away. Heather's obsession deepens, her world revolving around Nathan's every word. Nathan, drowning in guilt, tells himself he'll end it soon. But the pull of Heather's adorations is too strong. Heather's behavior shifts noticeably. Once the radiant cheerleader, she's now erratic, skipping practices and snapping at teammates. Her grades slip, her eyes shadowed with sleeplessness. At home, her mother, lost in her own haze, barely notices, but at school, whispers spread. Her cheer coach, Mrs. Larson, pulls her aside, concerned about her distraction. Heather brushes it off with a forced smile, but her thoughts are consumed by Nathan, his hesitant touches, his promises to figure things out. She clings to the fantasy that he'll leave his wife, Hannah, for her. Nathan, meanwhile, is unraveling. At home he's distant, his laughter hollow. Hannah, pregnant and glowing with hope, senses his withdrawal, but attributes it to coaching stress. She leaves sticky notes with baby names on the fridge, unaware of the betrayal eroding their marriage. At school, Nathan's once steady demeanor cracks. He's short-tempered with players, distracted during practices. His assistant coach, Mark, notices Nathan's late-night office hours and the way Heather lingers nearby. Mark says nothing, but his furrowed brow betrays his unease. In Brookhaven, where gossip travels faster than the evening breeze, such anomalies don't go unnoticed. The affair grows bolder, riskier. Heather sends Nathan a late-night text. "Meet me at the park. I need you." They rendezvous in a deserted lot, headlights off, hearts racing. Each meeting pushes them closer to exposure, yet they're blind to the consequences. The conservative values of Brookhaven, where teachers are pillars of trust, make their liaison a ticking time bomb. A single slip could ruin Nathan's career, shatter Hannah's world, and brand Heather as the town pariah. The turning point comes on January 5th, 2014. Hannah, tidying Nathan's car while he's at practice, finds a crumpled note tucked under the seat. In Heather's loopy handwriting, it reads, "You're mine, always. Don't forget." Hannah's breath catches, her hands trembling as the words sink in. Her world tilts. She confronts Nathan that night, her voice steady but eyes brimming with betrayal. "Who is she, Nathan?" He stammers, denying everything, but his panic betrays him. Hannah's trust, once unshakable, crumbles. She doesn't know Heather's name yet, but the seed of suspicion is planted. As Hannah grapples with the truth, someone else watches from the shadows. Who else knows their secret? How much longer can Heather and Nathan outrun the consequences of their choices? The walls are closing in, and a tragic collision looms just days away. January 10th, 2014, dawns cold and gray in Brookhaven, Georgia. The air bites at exposed skin, and a thick fog blankets the town, muffling the hum of morning routines. At Brookhaven High School, the gymnasium stands silent, its polished floors reflecting the faint glow of overhead lights. Heather Malone, 18, paces outside Nathan Ellis's office, her cheer uniform crumpled, her eyes red from sleepless nights. Her obsession with Nathan, now 28, has consumed her, twisting her dreams of love into a desperate need to possess him. Tonight, that desperation will ignite a tragedy that shatters lives. The trigger comes earlier that day. Hannah, Nathan's pregnant wife, confronts him again about the note she found, her voice trembling with hurt. "I deserve the truth, Nathan," she pleads. Nathan, cornered, admits to inappropriate conversations with a student, but swears it's over. Hannah, devastated, demands he resign and seek counseling, or she'll leave. Nathan's world teeters on the edge of collapse. He texts Heather, arranging to meet her in the gym after hours to end their affair for good. "We need to talk, 8 p.m., he writes. Heather's heart races, sensing his resolve but clinging to her fantasy. At 8:15 p.m., the gym is a cavern of shadows. Nathan stands by the bleachers, his jaw tight, rehearsing his words. Heather arrives, her face a mix of defiance and desperation. "You can't leave me," she says, voice cracking. Nathan, his guilt a heavy weight, tries to be firm. "This was a mistake, Heather. It's over." Her eyes flash with rage. She steps closer, clutching a gym bag, her voice rising. "You said you cared about me. What about Hannah's baby? You'll choose her?" Nathan's plea for reason only fuels her fury. The gym, once their sanctuary, becomes a pressure cooker of raw emotion. The confrontation escalates in a heartbeat. Heather, unhinged, pulls a kitchen knife from her bag, a weapon she'd taken from home, telling herself it was just to scare him. "If I can't have you, no one will," she hisses. Nathan, stunned, raises his hands to calm her, but Heather lunges. The blade catches his arm, blood welling through his sleeve. Panic seizes him. He grabs her wrist, wrestling for control. In the struggle, the knife arcs wildly, slicing into Heather's chest. She gasps, stumbling back. But Nathan, overwhelmed by fear and instinct, doesn't stop. The blade strikes again and again, each thrust a release of his guilt, terror, and rage. Heather collapses, her blood pooling on the hardwood, her final breath a choked sob. Nathan stands frozen, the knife clattering to the floor. The gym is silent, save for his ragged breathing. Reality crashes in. Heather is dead, and he's responsible. His mind races. Flee, hide, explain. He staggers out, leaving the scene untouched, blood smeared on his hands. The janitor discovers Heather's body the next morning, January 11th, 2014, sparking a community-wide shockwave. Police swarm the school, students sob in hallways, and Heather's mother wails outside, her grief raw and piercing. Nathan, at home, washes blood from his clothes, his face ashen, knowing the truth can't stay buried. Brookhaven reels from the loss of its golden girl. Hannah, unaware of Nathan's role, clings to him, her trust fraying. The gym, a place of triumphs, is now a tomb of secrets. Who will unravel the truth behind Heather's death? How will Nathan face the consequences of his actions? The investigation is about to begin, and no one will emerge unscathed. On January 11th, 2014, the Brookhaven Police Department descends on Brookhaven High School, transforming the gymnasium into a maze of yellow tape and forensic kits. Heather Malone's lifeless body, found stabbed in the early morning, sends shock waves through the Georgia suburb. The air is thick with grief and disbelief as officers cordon off the scene, their boots echoing on the blood-streaked hardwood. Leading the investigation is Detective Sarah Coleman, a 15-year veteran with a reputation for unraveling complex cases. Her sharp eyes scan the gym, noting the defensive wounds on Heather's hands, the scattered gym bag, and the knife, its blade glinting under forensic lights. This was no random attack. This was personal. Coleman's team moves swiftly. Initial interviews with students and staff paint Heather as the quintessential cheerleader, popular, vibrant, but lately withdrawn. Rumors swirl about her erratic behavior, her missed practices. The janitor, still shaken, recalls seeing Nathan Ellis leave the school late the previous night, his demeanor off. Coleman's instincts flare. Nathan, the respected basketball coach, becomes a person of interest. His connection to Heather, as her coach, is a starting point. But could there be more? The forensic team delivers early clues. The knife, a standard kitchen blade, yields partial fingerprints, too smudged to confirm a match. Blood spatter suggests a struggle, with Heather's wounds indicating she fought back. A search of the gym uncovers a torn scrap of paper in Heather's bag, a handwritten note in Nathan's scrawl, "Meet me, 8 p.m." Coleman's pulse quickens. This isn't just evidence, it's a timeline. She orders a deeper dive into Nathan's life, pulling phone records and interviewing colleagues. His assistant coach, Mark, hesitantly mentions Nathan's late-night office hours and Heather's frequent presence. The pieces begin to form a disturbing picture. On January 13th, Coleman brings Nathan in for questioning. His boyish charm is gone, replaced by a jittery unease. He claims he last saw Heather at practice, denying any meeting. But his alibi, home with his pregnant wife, Hannah, crumbles when Hannah admits Nathan was out until 10 p.m., running errands. Coleman presses harder, presenting the note. Nathan's face pales, his denials faltering. "It was just a coaching thing," he stammers, but his eyes betray panic. Meanwhile, a search of Nathan's car uncovers a jacket with traces of Heather's blood hidden in the trunk. The evidence is damning, yet Nathan insists he's innocent, hinting at Heather's instability as a possible lead. A twist emerges on January 15th. A student, anonymously tipping the police, claims Heather was obsessed with an older man, possibly Nathan. Coleman digs into Heather's phone, uncovering a flood of texts to Nathan, some loving, others desperate, even threatening. Messages like, "You can't leave me, and I'll tell everyone," reveal a volatile relationship. The word affair begins to circulate, shocking the community. Brookhaven's values, trust, propriety, make such a scandal unthinkable. Yet the evidence screams of a forbidden liaison gone wrong. The breakthrough comes on January 18th. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station captures Nathan's car near the school at 8:30 p.m. on January 10th, contradicting his story. Combined with the blood evidence and texts, it's enough. On January 20th, Coleman arrests Nathan at his home, his face drained of color, as Hannah watches, sobbing, her world collapsing. The community reels. A coach, a mentor, now a murder suspect. But what drove Nathan to such a desperate act? Was it fear of exposure or something darker? The truth awaits in the courtroom, where justice will face its ultimate test. In August 2014, the Brookhaven County Courthouse becomes a crucible of tension. The trial of Nathan Ellis, the once admired basketball coach accused of murdering 18-year-old cheerleader Heather Malone, draws a packed gallery. Reporters scribble furiously, locals whisper in the pews, and Heather's mother, her face etched with grief, clutches a photo of her daughter. Nathan sits at the defendant's table, his boyish charm replaced by a gaunt, hollow stare. The air hums with anticipation. Will justice prevail, or will secrets unravel further? Prosecutor Emily Harper, a seasoned attorney with a steely resolve, builds a compelling case. She paints Nathan as a man undone by his own recklessness, whose forbidden affair with Heather spiraled into a desperate act of violence. Harper methodically presents the evidence: the blood-stained jacket, the incriminating texts, the gas station footage placing Nathan at the school during the murder. "This was no accident," she declares, her voice cutting through the courtroom. "Nathan Ellis killed Heather Malone to silence her, to protect his marriage and career." The jury leans forward, gripped by the tale of betrayal. The prosecution's most poignant moment comes when Hannah Ellis takes the stand. Nathan's wife, visibly pregnant, speaks with a trembling voice, her eyes avoiding her husband. She recounts finding Heather's note, the confrontation that followed, and Nathan's lies. "I trusted him," she whispers, tears falling. "I never imagined he'd destroy us all." Her testimony, raw and heartbreaking, humanizes the scandal, showing the ripple effects of Nathan's choices. The courtroom falls silent, the weight of her pain palpable. Defense attorney Robert Klein counters with a calculated strategy, sowing doubt. He portrays Heather as an unstable teenager, obsessed with Nathan and prone to manipulation. "My client was a victim of her fixation," Klein argues, pointing to her threatening texts. He questions the forensic evidence, suggesting the knife's fingerprints were inconclusive and the blood on Nathan's jacket could have come from an earlier altercation. Klein even hints at an alternative suspect, perhaps a jealous classmate, but the theory lacks traction. The jury shifts uncomfortably, torn between sympathy for Nathan's fall and the horror of Heather's death. A pivotal moment arrives with the testimony of Heather's best friend, Sarah, who chokes back sobs. "Heather changed," she says. "She was in love with him, but it broke her." Sarah's words underscore Heather's vulnerability, countering the defense's narrative. The jury's faces harden. Heather was a victim, not a villain. On a sweltering September morning, the verdict lands like a gavel strike, guilty of second-degree murder. Nathan bows his head, tears streaking his face, as the judge sentences him to 25 years without parole. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Heather's mother collapses, sobbing with relief, while Hannah, seated alone, stares blankly, her world shattered. Justice has spoken, but at what cost? Did the verdict heal Brookhaven's wounds, or merely expose its scars? As the gavel falls, the true consequences of this tragedy begin to unfold, forever altering the lives left in its wake. By late 2014, the echoes of Heather Malone's murder still linger in Brookhaven, Georgia. The gymnasium at Brookhaven High, once alive with cheers, stands quieter now, its polished floors a silent memorial to a life cut short. The community, scarred by scandal, grapples with a new reality, one where trust in institutions and neighbors feels fragile. Heather's death, and the forbidden affair that sparked it, has become a cautionary tale, whispered in coffee shops and church pews. Heather's mother, Linda, bears the heaviest burden. Living in a modest apartment, she surrounds herself with photos of her daughter, smiling in her cheer uniform, laughing at a family picnic. The trial's verdict brought justice, but not peace. Linda channels her grief into advocacy, speaking at schools about mental health and the dangers of unchecked desperation. "Heather was more than a headline," she says, her voice steady but eyes distant. "She was my light." Hannah Ellis, now a single mother, moves to a neighboring town, seeking a fresh start for herself and her newborn daughter. The betrayal by Nathan, her college sweetheart, leaves scars deeper than any courtroom could heal. She sells their once hopeful home, its nursery unfinished, and finds solace in teaching, pouring love into her students. Yet, late at night, Hannah wonders how she missed the signs, her trust in love forever altered. Nathan, confined to a Georgia prison, lives with the weight of his actions. At 29, his coaching dreams are dust, his reputation ash. Letters from his daughter go unanswered. Hannah refuses contact. In his cell, Nathan replays that fatal night, haunted by Heather's final gasp and his own failure to stop the spiral. Redemption feels out of reach, but he clings to faint hope of one day making amends. Brookhaven High implements stricter oversight, training teachers on boundaries to prevent another tragedy. The community, once bound by tradition, learns a hard lesson. Secrets fester where trust is assumed. The affair's breach of social norms, teacher versus student, sparks debates about power dynamics and accountability, resonating far beyond Georgia. What drives someone to cross forbidden lines? How do we heal when trust shatters? Heather's story reminds us that love, unchecked, can become a spark for destruction. It begs us to look closer at our communities, our loved ones, ourselves. As Brookhaven rebuilds, one truth remains. Some scars never fade, but they can teach us to prevent the next tragedy. What do you think? Could this have been stopped? Share your thoughts below, like this video, and subscribe for more gripping true crime stories. Next, dive into a case where a pastor's secret affair led to a deadly betrayal. Don't miss it.